Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and it's time to do my full review on the OnePlus 5. Now, I've been using this device as my daily phone for a good amount of time. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Wanted to make sure I stuck it through all the updates that they pushed out to improve the phone. But now let's go ahead and get into the full review. Let's begin with design of the OnePlus 5. And overall, I have been very happy with it. It's a very premium feeling device in your hand. I did only drop it once. And luckily I had this slick wrap on it, and on the corner here you'll see it pushed the wrap in. However, it didn't actually nick the phone or anything like that. So probably a good thing I had the wrap on, otherwise I might have had a little chip. But overall I'm not really worried when I drop it. It feels like a very premium feeling all metal unibody design. And of course, for those of you wondering, this is the carbon fiber slick wrap. I will link to it down below if you're interested. Down at the bottom you've got a USB Type-C charging slot with dash charge capabilities, OnePlus's dash charge, and it charges extremely quick. Very impressed with that. Microphone, 3.5mm headphone jack, and a very average speaker grill. Really nothing crazy impressive about it. It's just average. On the right side here is your power button. You have your SIM tray, and then on the left side here is where your volume rockers are, same style as your power button. And then you have an alert slider, which I am a fan of. And I'm glad OnePlus has stuck with that design with the alert slider, so you can on the fly switch from silent, you can go to do not disturb, or down at the bottom ring, and you do have to put a little pressure on it to switch it. And no, of course it's not, the slick wrap doesn't get in the way, but you do have to put a little bit of force to actually change the modes, which is good because it doesn't accidentally change out of your pocket. Definitely worth noting, there's no expandable storage. There is dual SIM capabilities, but you cannot add a micro SD card. A bit of a bummer there. Also worth noting, no wireless charging and no waterproofing in terms of it being able to be submerged underwater. Flipping it over, on the front you do have your fingerprint scanner, which works like a charm, as you can see, very accurate. You also do have capacitive buttons on the right and left. You see those little dots that do light up. You can switch in between back and recents to your liking. And then of course up the top you have that front-facing camera, earpiece, and sensors. Finally, on the back is that dual camera system, and I'll talk about that more in depth in just a second. The OnePlus 5 has a 5.5-inch 1080p optic AMOLED display, and I am a fan of AMOLED over LCD, so I will prefer this over a 1080p LCD display, and it is a solid display. I have been happy with it. Outside, I wish it got a little bit brighter. Auto brightness is a little weird. Sometimes I find that I really need to shut it off. You can actually do that quickly right here. You'll see auto brightness on or off, and just manually turn it up to my liking. So that's just a personal thing. I do like it a little bit more bright when I'm inside, and auto brightness doesn't do that for me. Now, there are other, in terms of colors, looks good as well. You can change that. All you really have to do is jump into settings, and then scroll down to display. So in display settings, you'll see screen calibration. You have default, sRGB, DCI-P3, and custom as well. So if you'd like it a little warmer or cooler, you can go ahead and change it to your liking. And you can mess around with them, change them on the fly. Really nice addition. There's also a night mode, which makes it easier on your eyes, less strain, and a reading mode. So if you're going to be reading a lot of text, you can go ahead and activate a reading mode. Let's move on to battery life, and it has a 3,300 milliamp hour embedded battery, and I've been very happy with battery life. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the statistics of screen on time. And you'll see here 3 hours 51 minutes, but make note, still had 31% battery left, 4 hours 8 minutes with 28% battery left, 17% 3 hours and 22 minutes, 2 hours 32 with 40%, down to 8%, you'll see 4 hours and 25 minutes. So I get around 4 hours and 45 minutes, about an average, somewhere around there. So it gets me through the day, and that's notable because you'll see I have battery percentage left when I go to plug my phone in. I take these screenshots on a normal day's use, easily getting a full day. So I am very happy with battery life, and of course with that dash charge, it charges very quickly if needed. Next up is that dual camera system. One is a 16 megapixel wide angle lens, the other one's a 20 megapixel telephoto zoom lens. So loading up the camera, you'll see here, when snapping pictures, shutter speed is very quick. It focuses very quickly as well. They do have a nice manual mode. You can swipe up to get to a portrait mode, so it will blur objects when you take a picture of something in the background. So you'll see when I snap that picture, notice how much more blurred those scissors are and other things as well. Other modes as well, like I said, Pro mode, you have slow-mo, time-lapse, you can switch to video panorama, and of course Pro Mo, all that good stuff, aperture, white balance, as well. Really nice to play around with to get some really good shots. And this camera does take really good shots most of the time if you're in good lighting scenarios. Now, I will say it does not have optical image stabilization, so when taking pictures in lower light, it does the job for sure. It's just not up to par with other flagships out there in lower lighting scenarios. You will be happy with the pictures that do come out. However, other flagships just do a little bit better job in lower light. Now, to give you a quick example, here's a very low light scenario. You'll see my shadow right there. Swiping over, here's just a street, obviously completely lit by street lights. And then a close-up in lower lighting. Of course, it's going to get a little bit grainy when you zoom in on it. But overall, I am happy with the pictures if I'm just looking to get a nice point and shoot in lower light or good lighting. Overall, I would say it's a solid camera. And I already go in depth on the telephoto zoom lens, but here's a couple examples you see here. Here's regular, and here's 2x, regular, 2x. So you can get some really good close-up shots. Regular, 2x, and then regular, and 2x. So you'll see here, if I go back to the camera app itself, it has a little button right here where you can just tap it. And if you are in a good lighting scenario, we'll use that telephoto lens. I'll link to that video down below. Next up, let's talk about performance. And I don't want to talk about it too long because performance on the OnePlus 5 has been great. Just simply extremely good. I honestly don't get any slowdowns, whether I'm high-end gaming, doing a lot of multitasking. The OnePlus 5 either has 6 gigs or 8 gigs of RAM, which seems like a little bit too much at the moment, but does future-proof it. It does have a Snapdragon 835 processor, so definitely the latest processor as well. So you'll see I press the home button. Let's do some multitasking. I do have Asphalt 8. You'll see it paused. Let's go ahead and go to Chrome. Maybe go ahead and run through clock. How about, let's snap a quick picture. Boom. Come back. Go to Relay for Reddit. Load up some Reddit pages. Maybe go to the Play Store as well. Go into one. And let's go back to that Asphalt 8, and it should be there. You'll see an adds up, but you can just go ahead and resume the race and continue on. Very smooth, very quick. Absolutely no waiting times when I'm loading screens. That's pretty much it. Just great work, OnePlus, on performance. And I also think the performance is attributed to the slimmed down skin they have over on top of Android. It's on Android 7.1.1 at the moment, the latest. And it does run a skin called Oxygen OS. And I am a fan of Oxygen OS because it is very similar to stock Android. Now, it doesn't look like it, but you can actually theme this. So if you go into display, you'll see theme, dark light, or default. And you can change your accent color. I have blue, but you have other ones that you can choose. Oxygen OS also adds some very nice additions. One being on the stock launcher, you can swipe down once or twice to get to that recent apps button without having to reach all the way to the top. And they have some really nice gestures. You'll see 3-finger screenshot, double tap to wake. Ones I like and use the most are these. You can draw letters on the lock screen when the display is off, and you can customize it opening a specific app or doing a specific action. For example, draw a V. That flashlight turns on. Draw a V, and it turns off. I also have O to open up a camera, and you can also use music controls on that screen off as well. You can also customize the buttons, so you see back and recent apps. You can flip-flop them. You can also use on-screen buttons if you'd like to. I choose not to add a little more screen real estate, especially because capacitive buttons are already there. You can also add long press actions or double tap actions to both of them. So if you want to long press the back button, you can open up your recents, search assistant, other various shortcuts as well. So just really nice, useful customization options that aren't too intrusive. Now to finish things off, just want to give some final thoughts on the OnePlus 5. And after using it as my daily driver for a while, I am very happy with it. This is a phone I would recommend to family and friends just because it's so fluid. They're very quick with updates. There were a couple issues with the camera, but those got straightened out with a very quick update that they pushed out. The camera does the trick. It is a little bit lower priced than some flagships out there. However, it is missing a couple features that flagships might have, such as that waterproofing, wireless charging. The camera's not up to par with other flagships out there, so just kind of keep that in mind. But it is a solid battery life experience, really good performance. Of course, very slimmed down theme over Android as well. That's pretty much it. That is my full review on the OnePlus 5. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Click that thumbs up button if you like it. Subscribe as well. Lots more to come. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.